Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Tyler McNabb, and this is my 400EX. So in the last video we watched, we got the new steering stem in from Hauser Racing, got it installed, got the Hauser Racing handlebar clamp as well as the dash, got that installed. So then we were able to put the handlebars on, got the throttle, clutch, starter switch, got all that installed, as well as the Nerf bars. And something I didn't show you in the last video, but I went ahead and put on, are these Hauser decals. I got one on the swing arm, I got them on the Nerfs, and then I got them on the A-arms as well. So if you don't know, these are some throwback Hauser logos. And if you remember before, I'll try to throw a picture up right here, but the same logo was on my A-arms and my swing arm beforehand. And those logos, they weren't a sticker, they were actually powder coated into the A-arm and swing arm. So I thought that was really cool. I kind of wanted to do that here, but I couldn't get the template, so I wasn't able to get it powder coated into the A-arms like they were before. But I was able to buy some stickers off a guy, and so I got those on there. So they still look cool. It's kind of a throwback, kind of a retro thing, and I kind of wanted to do that because that's kind of where these A-arms and swing arm originated from. Like, they don't make these anymore. Hauser makes A-arms for the 400, but they're standard travel. They don't make their long travel A-arms anymore, and they don't make the extended swing arms anymore. So I just thought it was kind of cool. So that's a little bit of a touch that I did, and who knows how long they'll last. They probably won't last very long with XC Racing, but for now they look good. So got all that done in the last video, and so today's video is going to be focused on buttoning up the front end. And what I mean by that is we have I've got to put the brakes on, brake lines. I'll probably go ahead and get my steering stabilizer put on, and then I also need to go through, I need to adjust the toe of the tires as well as the camber of the tires. I need to go through and adjust that. And so I was waiting mainly on, I got this ball joint tool from Harbor Freight. And so if you know anything about these ball joints, they're like, when you tighten the bolt, they basically like press in to the hub, and so they're insanely hard to get out. I mean, the only way I was able to get them out before is just like repeatedly hit with a rubber mallet on these A-arms, so that they wouldn't be damaged, but enough force to get the ball joint to drop out. So yeah, so finally I got that tool, so that'll make that 10 times easier, because I think this tire's pretty good on camber, but this one is not, because you may be able to see it. It may not come across on camera, but this one's actually leaning a little bit outward, so the tire is actually leaning that way a little bit. So I need to get camber adjusted on that, toe adjusted on both of them, and then yeah, we'll pretty much have the front end buttoned up. So as I said in the last video, I'm gonna have some new parts for this quad. So one of those things is brake lines. I did order new brake lines from Streamline. The other products you probably already know by either the title or the thumbnail, but I'm gonna keep those hidden, mainly because one of them is here and the other one unfortunately is not. So currently when I'm filming this is when if you're from the Midwest, they had that big winter storm roll in, and there's supposed to be like a winter apocalypse, and it did end up being pretty icy out. It's still icy, but we haven't got as much snow there as they said. Really, we've probably only got like a couple inches of snow right now. So anyway, due to that, one of my things that I ordered got delayed, and so I'm still gonna show it to you in this video, but for me it's gonna be like a day or so before I get it. So anyway, so first thing we're gonna do in this video, get the front end buttoned up and all that fun stuff, and then we'll move on to the new parts. So let's get into it. So here we have the new streamlined brake setup. I went ahead and ordered new brake lines because my old ones, they're actually down here. As you can see, they look kind of gross and dingy, and like the outer covering's kind of like peeling off of the actual braided brake line. So I figured I would go ahead and just get some new ones. I mean, they're not terribly expensive. This whole setup is like $70, so really not terribly expensive. So went ahead, got those, got them in the color's called Smoke. So it's actually not black, it's like a really dark gray, and I thought that would pair pretty well with the all black setup, so I went with those. And then, as you know from previous videos, we've got the YFZ 450 calipers, and then they also came with new banjo bolts and crush washers, so that should pair pretty well and make a nice good front braking setup. So let's go ahead and get these on the quad. Okay, so now that we got everything mounted up, got the master cylinder, got the brake line coming down here, got it mounted down here at the split so it goes left and right. One thing I didn't think about at first, but this is an off-center, like it doesn't mount in the center, the T-block doesn't. So if you've got this set up, one of these brake lines is longer than the other. So just think about that when you're putting it on. It's not a huge deal. If you were to put it on, you'd probably notice pretty quick. But anyway, just keep an eye out for that. So now that I've got everything mounted up, got the banjo bolts with the crush washers all bolted up and everything, and so last thing to do is going to be to bleed them. So I think I talked about this when I put the 450 rear caliper on, but basically all I do for bleeding brakes is I've got a little piece of clear tube that I'm going to put on this bleeder screw. I'm going to fill this guy up with brake fluid, pump this probably 10 or 15 times, come down here, open the bleeder screw, let it release the pressure for, a couple seconds, tighten it back up, and then just repeat that process over and over and over again. And then I'll just switch back and forth between the calipers to make sure I'm getting a good amount of fluid to both. So yeah, I'm gonna jump into that. I'm not even gonna time lapse that because I may do like a short amount, but because it'll probably take me a little bit to get these new brake lines filled up. So yeah, I'll show you a little bit, but then after that we can move on to getting tie rods all straightened out and camber as well. So let's jump into it. Okay guys, well, I went ahead and got the brakes bled, so now we got good pressure in them, and yeah, they're gripping pretty good. So got those bled pretty much. If I need to do a little bit more later, I might, but anyway, shout out to my dad. He he kind of did something funny. So I mean, it's not really that funny. I mean, it's proven, and I never really thought of it. But anyway, to bleed these brakes, normally, like I said, I pump the master cylinder, I open up the bleeder valve, you know, the pressure pushes a little bit of brake fluid down, and then you just repeat the process until eventually you get pressure. Well, that takes a while, so instead, he came out here and I put that bleeder tube on that I always put on. That way it catches the fluid when the fluid comes out. And so what he did is I opened that bleeder, I had the brake lever pressed all the way down, and then he got on the end of the tube and basically pulled, so sucked on the end of the tube and pulled brake fluid through the line until it started coming out of the caliper. We did that on both sides, and so instead of it taking me, you know, half hour, 40 minutes to get these things bled, it only took me like 10, 15 minutes, because I probably sat there and pumped the brakes for 5 or so minutes, and he did that, and that got fluid all the way down there. Then I bled him a couple more times, and bam, had blood brakes. So thanks to him for doing that. Is kind of funny, but hey, it works, because I mean, that's what a lot of people do, especially on cars and stuff, is they get vacuum pumps. That's what they're made for, is you put them on the caliper, you turn the vacuum pumps on, it sucks brake fluid through the lines, and then hey, you don't have to bleed them. So yep, got that done. And so next thing we're going to do is I'm going to do the the camber adjustment on the quad, as well as the toe. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'll kind of explain what camber is. So I've got this straight edge right here. I've got it sitting up against the hub. As you can see down here, it is sitting pretty much flush, pretty much as flush as I can get it. And then if you come up here, you can see it's a little bit off. And so the reason for that is because that hub is at a slight angle like this. That's caster. You want a little bit of caster in these. That's just how you're supposed to run them. And so this one is actually set right about where I want it to be, like that at the top. However, if we move over to the other one, this one I will need to adjust, because, let's see here. Let me get it. If I get it set up correctly. So this one is actually, it's about straight up and down. Yeah, so the top definitely needs to come in a little bit, and I kind of realized that when I put the tire on, it was leaning out a little bit, it looked like. So what I'm going to do is pop this ball joint off and screw that ball joint in one turn, maybe 1 or 2 turns, and we'll see how that looks. And then that'll be all we need to do for the camber adjustment. I don't know why I keep saying caster. The camber adjustment, and then we'll throw the tires back on and get the toe adjusted. Okay, so got the camber adjusted. So I got that popped off thanks to my handy dandy Harbor Freight ball joint tool. Otherwise, beforehand, I just had to beat on these stupid things to get them off. So got that. As you can see now towards the top, we do have a gap. Not quite as much as I'd probably want, but when you do put the tires on and set this down, you know, they will lean in a tad more because the suspension will compress a little. But unfortunately, that's all I could go. That's literally all the adjustment it has. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to be good with it. This isn't a pro level quad or anything, so I'm not out there racing to make money, so it's not a huge deal if the camber isn't exactly what it's supposed to be. So anyway, got that as good as it's gonna get. That side I'm already happy with. It's already in a good position. So next thing to do is get the tires back on and see if we can get the toe dialed in. Okay, so got the tires back on, so now what I'm going to do is adjust the toe. And so what I'm referring to with the toe is how the tires are angled this way. So camber I was dealing with up and down, this I'm dealing with in and out. And so what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the center of the tire, so right here, to the frame. I'm going to measure the same spot on both sides and get them to the exact same point, so that way I know that they're the same on each side. And then what I'm going to do is you go from the front, you measure from center to center on the back of the tire, and then center to center on the front of the tire. And usually what you want, I think it's like you want an eighth of an inch, eighth to a quarter inch difference between these two. Between the front and the back, so you want them towed in just slightly. So this tire I want pointing in a little bit, and this tire I want pointing in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead, get the tape measure out, do that, and see if we can get this thing looking like it should. Okay guys, well, got the quad all aligned and everything, and it's looking pretty good. So next thing on the agenda to get the front end buttoned up is I'm probably just going to go ahead and get the stabilizer installed. That should be pretty straightforward. And then I've got some clamps for the brake lines that I'll put on. And then after that, other than the front bumper, which I'll probably wait to put on till later because I'll put the skid plate on before it, this front end is pretty much done. So I'm gonna get that slapped on real quick. And then those parts that I promised earlier in this video, they finally showed up, and so we're gonna see those next. So let's get the stabilizer on, then we can look at those. Okay, so we've got the steering stabilizer buttoned up, and yeah, it fits. So if you remember before on my 400, I had to put a shim in here because this is made for a 450, and the 450 stems are a little bit bigger in diameter, so that's why. So this thing fits, feels good. Definitely stiffened up the steering a little bit, but hey, that's what it's for. and that's how you know it's working. So got that. Now it's time for the parts that I have been waiting for quite a while. So as I told you in the previous video, if you watched it, not the previous 400 video, but the last video I just put on YouTube, I said these parts got, well, one of the parts had already arrived, the other one got lost in the mail. Well, so my dealer, Ritzler's Extreme ATV, went ahead, ordered a new set, and that set didn't show up, but the set that got lost in the mail showed up. So big thanks to him going through all that. Like I said, he'll go the extra mile for his customers. So if you're in the greater Brazil, Terre Haute, Indianapolis, Greencastle area, hit him up. But anyway, so what we've got here is we have a DuraBlue axle. Look at it. Very nice, very nice. So that's the part that actually showed up and was here. And the next thing I was waiting on was these beautiful billet Lone Star Racing hubs. And so this is what I've been waiting on to finish up the build, and they did not disappoint. So I am super excited to go ahead and get this guy on. And so the reason I went ahead and did this is my stock axle, I'm pretty sure, is like slightly bent because I mean, it's not super noticeable, but when you do, if like I jack up the rear axle and spin the tires, I can see one of them going slightly up and down. And then also, like if I'm riding down the road to go ride somewhere, I can feel like the rear end just like slightly bumping, just like ba 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 ba. So anyway, I think it is slightly tweaked, so I figured I would go ahead and replace it. And you know, I figured if I'm getting a brand new axle, might as well get some new hubs as well, because the old hubs are slightly worn out. Also, not quite as exciting, but I did get some new Nerf nets. Went ahead and bought those from JSR Moto Designs, and these seem to be pretty good quality. They look really good, and the nice thing is they give plenty of strap on the edges of these, so I shouldn't have any issues with like running out of strap when threading them through the Nerf bar and stuff. And I went ahead and ordered a set of clips as well. So got those, and I think that's pretty much it in terms of parts. I am waiting on one more thing, but it's going to be here in a couple days, and it's not super important to the build. It's just kind of an extra nice part to have. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead, get the old axle out, put the new axle in, and that's probably going to wrap it up for this video. I'm not sure exactly how long this one's going to be, but that's probably going to wrap it up for this one. And then in the next one, we'll probably try to get this thing fully buttoned up. So let's get to working on that axle. Okay guys, well, there we have it. So we've got the brand new DuraBlue axle installed, looking nice and shiny with the brand new billet Lone Star hubs, looking good. And yeah, so that will be a good addition to the quad, and hopefully be nice and strong. So I think it's supposed to be like 2 to 3 times stronger than the stock axle, so it's gonna be a good one. So overall, the quad is coming together really nice. Yeah, got the front end pretty much all buttoned up, got the brake lines, all that fun stuff on, got the stabilizer on, tie rods, got those on, got those adjusted, made sure the toe and camber and all that fun stuff was good and aligned. And then at the very end, we got this beautiful axle in. So quad is coming together. We don't have a whole lot left on this thing. Really, yeah, the front end's pretty much done. I think pretty much everything left is on the back end. So we've got to get the rear brakes on. I got to get the chain on. Let me see what else. Probably get the Nerf nets on in the next video. And then other than that, I don't think I have a whole lot left over here on the bench parts wise. So I guess I can talk about these old hubs. So these guys were good and worn out. Not sure. Yeah, it probably won't come across real well on camera, but these the splines in these hubs were good and worn out because when I would go to put them on the old axle, I would have to hammer the impact like for 5-10 seconds to get them real tight, because there was like a ton of play in those hubs, to where like even if you had it relatively tight, you could sit there and like jiggle them back and forth because of the play in the splines and stuff. I don't think the axle was actually worn down. I think it was mainly the hubs, but like I said, since the axle was bent, I figured I'd go ahead and replace it. And instead of putting these worn out hubs on a brand new axle, I figured I might as well go ahead, go big, get some nice billet hubs, and make it look nice and good. So yeah, overall, the quad is coming together, not very much left. Another thing I'll probably do is go ahead and put the skid plate on in the next video, and then after that, I'll probably do a bolt check, make sure I got pretty much all the bolts tight, and then I think this thing will pretty much be ready to roll. So overall, in a good spot, and hopefully here soon. Let's see, at the time I'm filming this, the first race of the year that I plan on hitting, which would be round 1 of Extreme XC Series, is just over 3 weeks. Well, actually, it's 3 weeks from tomorrow, from when I'm filming this. So IXCR does have a race in 2 weeks from tomorrow that I may hit, just in case, because right now it is like the big snowstorm we had at the beginning of this video that I talked about. Well, now it's like a week later from when I was originally filming this, and so all that's melted, and it's been raining, and so it is just insanely muddy. So I'm definitely not going to be riding around here anytime soon, but I may go up to the Badlands and either do some riding if I get some time, or I may hit that race at the Badlands to just kind of get some ride time on this thing, and maybe make sure everything's good and buttoned up and ready for the series that I'm actually going to run points in. So like I said, overall, quad's coming together, and hopefully we'll be finishing it up in the next video, and maybe we can slap the plastics on and kind of do a total walk around of it. So looking good, and hope you guys are enjoying the build series. I know I'm glad to be slowly finishing this thing up. It looks great. It's turning out a lot better than I thought it would, and I'm really liking it. So hopefully you guys are liking it as much as I am. And I really do appreciate you guys coming, watching the videos, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff. I like communicating with you guys. You guys don't hesitate to comment and say what you like and all that stuff. And I enjoy trying to talk with you guys, and I try to get back as quickly as possible if I do see a comment with a question or even just a statement. So yeah, I really do appreciate it. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.